Hey guys, Drew here with GODZ Manufacturing, bringing you another install video. Today we're going to be working on the 2017 Plus Super Duty platform. This will apply to the 2017 through 2022 and also the 23 Plus F250, 350, 450, and 550 platforms. What we're going to be installing today is our brand new front bumper light mount, which is bolting into the front bumper and is designed to support up to 5 round lights, whether that be a Baja Designs LP4, 6, or 9, or possibly something like the Rigid Radiance light series. All right, so before we dive into the actual installation itself, let's talk about the front bumper light mount. This is a product that we make here in-house. It's 1.75 or 1 3/4 inch DOM tubing on the top, the supports, and what goes into the actual truck itself. We also have customized tabs as well that correspond with the Baja Designs LP light brackets. It's going to install into OEM holes on the bumper. However, we have to do a little bit of modification to some plastic in order for this to mount up. So let's go ahead and talk about that next. We've gone ahead and already drilled the holes in these plastics. We're going to show you that process here in a moment. But the first step in the installation of the front bumper light mount from GODZ Manufacturing is removing the plastics around the tow hook. It's a pretty simple process. What we're going to do here, there's a clip behind here, here, and over here. So I'm just going to get my hand behind this. Whether you guys have a factory winch or not, you're going to be removing these. So we're going to just pop that out. And then we'll go over here, kind of pinch the top and the bottom and pop that out once more. Once you can feel all the clips release, we'll just slide that over the tow hook. We'll repeat that process one more time here on the other side. So again, clip here, clip here, clip here, pull that out. And then we're gonna pretend that hole's not there. So I'm gonna pinch on the top and bottom and pull that last clip. You can hear it release, and we'll slide that off the tow hook. You can see we've got some orange paint on these bottom bolts. We'll describe what that is next. With the plastics removed, we're going to talk about getting everything set up to drill the hole. So you can see we've got some orange paint on the bottom bolt here of the bumper. What we're going to do here is actually use the bolt to locate where to drill the hole. The reason we do it this way is because the bumper could sit slightly left or right, depending on where they dropped the actual body of the truck on, because they want to get everything lined up. So there is some play in this. It's not necessarily going to be even left to right. It's not on this truck, and we'll show you that in a little bit more detail. But we're going to use an 18mm socket. You don't need a long extension for this part, but you're going to need it here in a minute. We're going to back this out a little bit. So we're going to back that out, and then I'm using a Sharpie paint pen. Something like this, your wife's nail polish, your kids' arts and crafts, any of that will work. You just need some sort of wet paint on the bolt head. And we're just going to mark this, get a good bit of paint on that bolt head. And then we're gonna act as if we're reinstalling these plastics. We're gonna put it over the tow hook, get everything lined up here. Got to seat that below the bumper. And then I'm just gonna push the plastic on top of that bolt head where I know this is going to be. We pull that off, and we can see we've smeared a little bit of that orange paint that I used right on that. That's going to be our marker for drilling. I'm going to repeat that process one more time on the passenger side, then we'll show you how to drill out the plastic. We've marked the plastics off that front bumper with our paint pen, taken them over to the table, and we have our drill and a 1 3/4 inch hole saw. We're going to use this to make the hole that the tube will actually pass through so this can mount to the bumper. It's going to be a very tight fit. You need to be fairly precise with the drilling in this application. If you guys want a little bit more leeway, you could upsize the hole saw to something like a 1 7/8 or even a 2-inch hole saw, just to allow you guys a little bit more play in the situation. Camera guy's going to come in here. We're going to show you what we're doing next. So this is my orange paint here. I'm going to start the bit here on the middle of that orange paint. Just go slow. We're going to drill from the back side. Okay, so I've made my first punch through here. Now, there's something we need to take into consideration when drilling this. We've got a couple of different flat faces on the back of this plastic. We want our hole saw to go in so it's parallel to the tow hook face. The tow hook face has these two big holes in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this vertical so I can line everything up, and I'm just going to angle my drill so I am parallel to that face. And then I'm gonna go ahead and slowly start to chew through. All right, so I've made it through here. Got some plastic in there, we'll remove that in a second. You can see we've got some fuzzies and whatnot on here. If you guys have a deburring tool, that would be great. You can pick it off by hand, or you can trim it up with a razor knife. We'll show you how to do that in just a second. As far as trimming up the rough plastic around the edges goes, just gonna use a little razor knife, and all I'm gonna do is basically just scratch this off of the edges and kind of run it around the inside circles of this radius, just so we can remove all the stuff. We don't have to make it super pretty on the back. We're really just trying to clean up this front edge a little bit. If you have a barrel sander, something that you put on like a die grinder, you could run around the inside as well. That's an option. We don't have to go hog wild with this though. That's gonna be clean enough. It's gonna be nice and hidden by the light bar itself.
Goodbye.
Now that we've got our plastic drilled, we've cleaned up all the edges, we're gonna go ahead and reinstall these on the truck. Doing it in this order is gonna make it a little bit harder to line up the bar, but ultimately we're not going to mess up the 3 delicate plastic clips that are on the back of this. So same as before, we're just gonna put that right over the tow hook itself. We're gonna rock that into position, and then we can go ahead and get everything clipped in so we're nice, firm, ready to go. Repeat that process one more time. Over the tow hook, rock it in. And if the clips are fighting you, don't push them too much. We don't want to break those. So I got that clip in. This one's sitting a little high. There it goes. All right, so got that in, ready to go around the tow hooks. Next, we're gonna get a friend to put the bar in. Not that it's exceptionally heavy, but it's a little bit awkward to line this up, so we're gonna do that part next. Those 18mm bolts that we previously removed here in my hand are gonna be used to reinstall the bar itself. So I'm gonna set my side down here really quick. The easiest way to get this going is go ahead and preload your socket with that bolt. And then I'm gonna go ahead and thread that through, get my threads protruding at the backside. And I'm gonna do it all as one assembly. And I'm gonna start this by hand. We don't wanna risk cross-threading anything. Okay, got that started by hand now. Okay, don't fully tighten this side yet. We want to have a little bit of play over there. Same process though. Going to take the bolt on our socket. We're going to thread it through the hole, just kind of feel around. And then again, feel for those threads by hand. At this point, we can buzz it down lightly. We are going to torque these to spec, which we'll talk about next. Excuse me.
Pop it up, you dirty bastard!
At this point, we've got the front bumper light mount installed on the truck. Everything is snug, but it is not torqued. So I have a torque wrench here. We are going to go to factory Ford specs, which is 85 foot-pounds. We're going to lock that in. We're going to reach in here, get on our bolt, and we're going to go till we hear a click. Okay, at this point, we are torqued down. We are good to go on this. We're gonna add our final touches, which is a nice plastic cap here that we're gonna reinstall in the front. 1, to seal out the elements, and 2, to provide a more finished look. The front bumper light mount is gonna come to you guys with plastic caps already installed on the outer tubes. That's something that we do here prior to shipping. We're gonna send you 2 loose ones as well to cap off that front side. These are gonna be a little tight. Variance is in plastic, variance is in powder coat. Sometimes these are not going to go in super smooth, but we still want a tight fit to seal off everything. So what we actually do here is we take a little blowtorch, you could use a Bic lighter, whatever, and we basically just singe these edges here really quick. Don't need a lot of heat. You certainly don't want to melt the plastic. Be careful, fire is hot. And then we're just going to take this and squarely press this into the tube, get it started. If you guys do struggle like I am, clearly, you can give it just a little bit more heat. All we're trying to do is basically make this plastic just a touch more malleable. We are a Colorado company, it's cold here today, so we are just trying to have this thing help us out. And as you see, once you get a little heat on it, pops right in, dead blow hammer, finishes the job. We'll repeat it one more time on the driver's side. Now that your GODZ manufacturing front bumper light mount is installed on your 2017 Plus Super Duty, let's go over a few key points just to make sure that we have everything fully back together. Obviously, we had to remove some plastic to drill out and get this installed. First and foremost, we want to make sure that the plastic on the passenger and driver's side of the bumper are reinstalled and those clips are firmly back in place so we don't have any wiggling going on with the situation. The 18mm acorn style head bolt that you removed from the front bumper, we want to make sure that it's back in. We want to make sure that it's also torqued to 85 foot-pounds, which is the beautiful Ford Motor Company torque spec. Lastly, we want to put on our finishing touches here, which is that plastic cap. That plastic cap may or may not need a little bit of heat to help it be more malleable to get into the hole, and then you can finish it off with a couple taps on a dead blow hammer. At this point, the install of this spar is completely done. We are ready to go. Couple things to note, this is not a recovery point, so do not put any sort of toe straps, snatch straps, anything like that on here. But first and foremost, and I guess our next steps to getting this done is going to be installing lights and a wiring harness. We're going to do 2 more videos on this specific truck, one covering our in-house made wiring harness and another talking about how to set up the lights itself.